Globant helps companies to navigate the complex world of digital transformation and seek reinvention. It's our slogan. We provide end-to-end digital solutions and services. Globant solves the problem of businesses struggling to keep up with the rapid pace of the technology change. By helping them modernize and optimize their digital system processes and customer, experience, with our expertise, cutting-edge technologies, and our focus on human-centered design.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Victor Cabrera. He's the technical director at Globant. Victor, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going? I'm very excited to be here and look forward to share my experience with your audience.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. So Victor, why don't you start and tell me a little bit about yourself?
All right. So yes, I am technical director at Globant. So with over 15 years of experience working in software design and digital transformation. And I am system engineer in Colombia from Universidad Distrital in Bogotá, Colombia. My career started as a .NET developer in 2005, working as in an insurance company in Colombia. Then I moved to a small software agency as a developer too, and then I jumped in a big agency that is called Carvajal in Colombia. It's a big company there. So they work with Yellow Pages. So I am speaking 2017, very old business. And then in 2012, I started at Globant as a developer, developer.com as well. And I worked for there in the last 10 years. In 2015, I pivot my career to the Salesforce technology. And I have been working in Globant as a technical lead, release manager, technical manager, and now I am technical director here. And yesterday, I reached 4 years in the US, and I came to the New Jersey to relocated by Globant to work very close to our clients. It was not easy, and more if you at a pandemic in the middle of the process that locks you in your house for almost 2 years. So it was very difficult to me and my wife because, you try to start to connect with the people, try to get friends, get other connections, and wasn't possible in 2020 and 2021. And then I specialized in the Salesforce ecosystems. Like I said, in 2015, I pivoted my career, such as Marketing Cloud, Salesforce, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. And I have 3 certifications in that technologies, and I have understanding of agile methodologies and Scrum, like Kanban and things like that. So yeah, that's me.
So it sounds like you've had a very interesting journey, kind of getting from where you started to Globant now. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about Globant?
Sure. Globant helps companies to navigate the complex world of digital transformation and seek reinvention. It's our slogan. We provide end-to-end digital solutions and services. Globant solves the problem of businesses struggling to keep up with the rapid pace of the technology change. By helping them modernize and optimize their digital system processes and customer, experience, with our expertise, cutting-edge technologies, and our focus on human-centered design. So Globant empowers business to unlock new opportunities and drive growth in today's digital age. Digital innovations in banking, entertainment, commerce, healthcare, travel, you name it, Globant consulting and technology teams are probably behind it. We're deploying deep expertise to prepare the business and shape the work. So, for instance, we have some connections with La Liga, FIFA, LA Clippers, EA, LinkedIn, Google. Google was our first customer in Globant in the history. And yes, we have a lot of other interesting clients and customers that we have here in Globant.
That's fascinating. What would you say the biggest challenge that these customers have before they start working with Globant is? Is it, talk to me about that.
So the biggest problem that our clients has with before to start to work with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, for instance, they has a lot of problems trying to understand how the software or the processes connect with the user experience. So it's sometimes they think that just is to put on a fancy website and a fancy CRM, fancy things, but they don't think it's the experience for the end user and the whole experience, not just the digital experience, and how that digital experience connects with the real life experience. So basically, that is, I think, is the biggest challenge that they have. Try to understand how to connect the experience between the real experience, the digital experience, and how to do a seamless experience for the end user.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned some really, high profile clients that that you've worked with in the past. Talk to me a little bit about what makes the brand stand out. Like why did these companies choose to work with Globant besides your expertise?
Okay, so my specific experience in Globant, I am working with the healthcare vertical. So for that reason, I am here in New Jersey. So we have some clients here in New Jersey that are very important for Globant. I help to these guys, to start to improve the experience, not just for the end user, also for the patients and the healthcare professionals and the other actors that we have around the healthcare and the wellness. For instance, last year I worked in a program slash projects that for Florida network hospitals that try to connect the telehealth with the patient, with the end patient. So we create some applications in the mobile experience in order to do follow-ups with the doctor or things like that, using telehealth, things like that. But basically that's the vertical or the industry that I am helping work here in Colombia.
That's really fascinating. And, talk to me about how Globant is able to stand out from the rest of its competition.
So I am not, let me think that answer. So okay, yes. So I will speak about that. We do different in the market. So for instance, we are digital native DNA. So Globant started in 2003, and we started in all the 2000s and 2010s decade. And we worked as a digital native. So the company is digital. For instance, before the COVID, we already worked in working from home, things like that. All of those concepts has 10 years with us or more. So that is very, very new concepts for the new companies and other companies. We already had that because we are digital native. Like I said, Google was our first client in Globant, and we get a lot of the culture of them in the first projects that we interact with them, and we bring that culture to us. So it's, when I started in Globant in Colombia 10 years ago, it was like a dream because it was like a work in a company in Silicon Valley, but in Bogota. So it was very, very interesting in that moment. Also, our secret sauce is the talent. So Globant attracts and retains top talent from around the world. So India, Argentina, Colombia, US, Canada. So we have a lot of offices around the world. So the top talent is the secret sauce. But for that secret sauce, we have the pod model. So we have an internal way to work that is pod model. We are not, or we always try to be a part of the staff augmentation model because we think that doesn't bring value for the user. We try to go to the pod model. So basically the pod model is like a pod coffee. Yeah, a coffee pod. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the coffee pod, when you want a coffee pod with French roast, you choose the pod that has that flavor. So Globant try to create pods that are groups of people from 5 to 10 multidisciplinary professionals, and put that pod to work in a project. I am working with Salesforce, so we have pod for Salesforce CRM. So we are going to have two developers with Salesforce, maybe one consultant, maybe one business analyst, that is the person that connect with the business. We are going to have one tester, maybe one Scrum Master, and that is the perfect pod. And we put that pod working very close with the client. So that's this secret sauce. And other things that maybe we do very well, but it's not different than the other ones, is the innovation. So all the company has to do innovations, but for instance, we have internal company that is called Globant X that has another tools like Magnify or Gore. Magnify, for instance, is an artificial intelligence tool that helps you to do testing. So it's compare images using computer vision. And for instance, if you have a mockup and you have then a result of the web design or thing like that already in production, you are going to compare, and Magnify is going to say, hey, yes, it's very similar or has an error or no error, whatever. So Magnify is something like that. And also we have Augor, that is artificial intelligence working with the developers, helping to codify them very quickly, more rapidly in the process. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I love how you kind of break down the special sauce that Globant has. So, you mentioned before that, Globant is an end-to-end solution. So break that down for me. What does that mean?
So Globant has a special structure into the Globant. So Globant has studios. So for instance, we have user experience studios, Salesforce studio, reinvention studios. For instance, we have a studio that is called Automotive, that is specifically for attend the automotive industry. We have healthcare and life science studio that is specifically for attend that industry. So that's the way that we organize into the Globant. Into that studios, we have a lot of practices. So we are agnostic for the technology. So the idea is not, okay, you are working with Salesforce, so the only thing that you are going to do is Salesforce. No. So we are going to try to be consultant at that point and say, hey, maybe it's Salesforce or maybe it's another product needed for this project or for this solution. We start to connecting with the business. Also, we have another studio that is very, very interesting, that is Business Hacker Studio. So sometimes there are companies that doesn't know what is the new model for their business, or maybe they need to redefine or found a new business model. So we have business hackers that are people that has a lot of knowledge to start understand the business, try to create designs, proof of concept, experiments, things like that, and bring all that knowledge for a new revenue stream or something like that. So
Yeah. So, and you said kind of the end-to-end solution, but Globant even starts before that, right? Because Globant has a lot of social impact programs and some college training programs as well too, right?
Yeah, that's right. So for instance, in Colombia we have a program that is very close to me because I am Colombian, and with the people that are associated with the agreement of peace in Colombia, peace agreement. So sorry. So in Colombia we had internal conflict, or we had an internal conflict that in 2016 we've signed a peace agreement with the guerrilla in that moment. Okay, all of those guys that was victims, people from the guerrilla, people that has in other towns that was affected, migrated, for instance, to Bogota. So the mayor's office in Bogota has a program with Globant that are training these guys to connect with the industry, with the technology industry. So, maybe a training in technology, programming, coding, a business analyst, design, things like that, in order to bring them tools to start to be employee in the industry. So sometimes they start to work with us into the Globant, or sometimes other companies around us hire them and start to work with them. So that's very, very nice program. We have another one that is Inspired Garage. The idea is to bring the technology industry for the teenagers and try to inspire them to connect with the technology and our job. We had in the past very beautiful program in Argentina that was called Back to the Game, that was related for the women that was working in the technology, but for any circumstance they have to, resign for the company or for the technology industry for some years, and they wanted to return. So we use Trailhead and Salesforce to train these girls and these women to return to the technology. That was very good because they have a lot of knowledge to, in other technologies that can be transferred to the new technologies and to the new paradigms. So we worked with that social impact in Globant, and I'm very happy helping you on that.
Yeah. Why do you think the work with the social impact and the training programs that Globant is doing, why do you think that's so important?
Oh, well, it's so important because, for instance, in two ways. For the company, it's important because there is a lack of, a lack of people that be trained in technology, and doesn't matter that we are right now into 23, then we are having a lot of layoffs, big tech, something like that. Always the talent is necessary, and people that has talent and people that knows about technology always is going to have more easier for them to get employed. So for that reason, it's important for the technology, for Globant in this case, to have the people with talent and people trained in order to, be hired and start to grow up into the company. And also it's important for the countries, for the towns, for things like that, because that people is going to be employees, and is going to be start to pay taxes, and it's going to be start to move the economic for the country. So and also it's important for the person because, for instance, I have very close cases working with me in 2015 in these kind of programs that I trained some guys that doesn't have, they was very low income in Colombia, or low income families. They started as a peers employees in Globant, and they start to work with us. They have a lot of potential in that moment with Salesforce, and they start to certificate and get a lot of certifications, and some of our clients start to pay for them. And we can offer them a very good salary, and literally we change the life for those guys. So they can start to put the first home, the first car. They can start to, grow up in the economic for them as well. So that's, I think, is important for the world.
Yeah.
That kind of social impact.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And, kind of pivoting a little bit, talking about kind of the current, socioeconomic status of the world, the industry, all of that. Are there a lot of, what would you say the most significant misconception about the industry is right now?
Oh, the misconception, for instance, in Globant is that people always is thinking that it's just technology and just coding. And for instance, there is something more than coding and technology. It's the processes, the user experiences, the accessibility of the things, for instance. So sometimes we think that is very good to have a website or, e-commerce site or something like that. But we don't think in the accessibility things for those sites, for instance. So, for instance, we need to think for the blind people that cannot have the same possibility to interact with our experience than the people that see. So I think it's very important think in the user experience than in the technology. And sometimes the misconception is that if you have the last version of, I don't know, whatever platform or tool, you are going to be on top of trading, and it's not. So sometimes it's just to have a good experience, and that's it. So I think that's the big misconception in this industry.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I think that you raise a few really great points in that, talking about considering those next steps, considering that it's not just a website, considering the next steps off of that. So, Victor, this has been a great conversation. I appreciate you breaking down all the great things that Globant is doing, regarding, globally, globally talking about, everything that you're doing, in New Jersey in the healthcare industry. I really appreciate you breaking down business, break down the company. Is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with before we head out?
No, that's, I think that I haven't spoken about everything. So
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be here. And no, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great to have you. Thanks for being on Business Ninjas today.
Thank you.